Welcome back to Shard Collector Films. This is part 4 of the How to Play Heroes of the Grid series. This is the finale of the tutorial. In this video, I'll be going exclusively over the battle phase. The most complicated part of the game. It's also the biggest part of the game. This part is going to take a while to explain because it is so in-depth, so I split it up into its own part in the tutorial series. This is going to take a lot of time, so without wasting any more of it, let's get into it. Alright, so the goal of battle mode is to take down your enemies, belittle their combat card's health down to 0 by dealing damage. Obviously, right? Well, here is a damage token. This represents 1 damage. There are a lot of these in the core game. There are 30 of them in the core game. This is the only place you can get them as of right now. And you deal damage by rolling this dice right here. You have a maximum of 6 of them in the core game. You can add dice to attacks and stuff, so you could re-roll some if you don't have more than 6, or you could buy the individual dice sets that are different colored dice. Anyway, this side is the 1 damage side. There are 3 sides of 1 damage. There's a side that deals 2 damage, so you deal double that amount. You put 2 tokens on the enemy card. And this circle right here means you missed. You didn't deal any damage when you roll this. Most of your attacks require energy. You use your energy tokens for this. Your combat cards can have an energy cost of 0, 1, 2, 3, or X, which means a variety of things. For example, we're going to use Mighty Morphin Blue's Blade Blaster card for example here. This attack deals an amount of damage equal to the amount of energy spent to play this card. So that's, in most situations, this is what the X cost means. However, I believe there are a couple of exceptions to this, although I can't name them off the top of my head. While we're talking about Ranger combat cards, there are 3 primary types of combat cards for your Rangers. You have maneuvers, you have reactions. Billy doesn't have any reactions in his combat deck, so I'm using Mighty Morphin Black as an example here. And you also have attacks. In most situations, they will have a set amount of dice for you to roll. Anyway, maneuvers can do a variety of things. This one in particular gains energy. A ranger of your choice may search their deck for a card and add it to their hand. They must shuffle their deck afterwards. Some others will allow rangers to immediately play another card out of turn. I'll go into each card of each ranger deck in detail in the character overviews for each set. Reactions are only played when a specific requirement is met, like when an enemy deals damage, or when another ranger plays a card. And then attacks just do some basic damage, and they may have some effect text like this. In this case, you place the card back on top of your deck instead of putting it in your discard pile. There are some special types of attacks, including the Blade Blaster that we saw earlier, where you only do the amount of damage of the energy you spend, but you also have attacks that guarantee 1 damage, along with the value of the dice that you rolled. And also, some cards have a little star icon here. This is if you reveal a card for defense, and you reveal a card for defense when you take it off the top of your deck when you are dealt damage. This is how you defend yourself against damage by enemies. This one in particular says if this card is revealed for defense, deal 1 damage to an enemy card of your choice. So you can get the enemy back for that. It's called counter jab for a reason. Individual character ability cards, Zord cards, and Megazord cards can also be used in battle. Most character ability cards and Zord cards have once per battle conditions, such as Billy's ability card Strategize. Some character ability cards and Zord cards can be used outside of battle, but most of them are used in battle, along with the Megazord cards. To demonstrate how to reveal for defense, let's just take this cog card right here, Shock Spear, which gives you a choice to drain 2 energy or suffer 3 damage. In this example, we don't have 2 energy, or we don't want to drain it because we want to use it for a powerful attack. In this case, we'll want to suffer 3 damage. So what you do is you pull from the top card of your deck, and the shields on that card decrease the damage by that amount. You have to put it in your discard pile. So it says deal 3 damage. That's 1 shield. That has taken 1 damage from that 3. There is 2 damage left to be dealt to your ranger. If for some reason you pull a card higher than the damage amount, like this, and I pull a 3 shield card, there is 1 shield left over. You can put that at the bottom of your deck. In this case, if there is a star ability, if this card is revealed for defense, deal 1 damage to any card of your choice. So, in this situation, I would have put 1 damage on Shock Spear. It's half dead. Let's get back to the enemy combat decks and talk about those for a little bit. A full villain combat deck looks like this. If you are fighting a monster, nemesis, or a boss, they will go on the top row, and you will fill out the bottom row with the foot soldiers. If it is only foot soldiers in the battle, it'll only be 1 row. You can only have a maximum of 4 foot soldiers participating in a battle at the same time. So if you have more than 4 foot soldiers in a location and you engage in battle there, only 4 of those foot soldiers can participate in the battle. Alright, so I flipped each card over. Each enemy combat deck has 3 main keywords. Now there is a 4th kind of card that does not have any keywords at all, like the Shock Spear, Regrow, and Swarm Attack down here. The fast keyword, let me zoom on and over here. The fast keyword means that the enemy takes the first turn. In any battle, the Rangers take the first turn unless there is a fast card in play. If you are drawing from a villain deck and you pull a fast card out and you set it in the middle here, it immediately moves to the far left. They get to go first. If there are more than 1 fast card present in the battle at the same time, only the first fast card goes first, then it goes to the Rangers. The other fast keyword is ignored. The guard keyword protects enemy cards on the left, the right, the bottom, or in TikTok Kick's case, up above. They cannot protect each other, so if there are 2 guard cards near each other, they do not protect each other, only other non-guard enemy cards. They cannot protect diagonally. So, of course, these are 2 guard cards anyway, they wouldn't be able to protect each other. But like in this case, how there are 2 guard cards right next to each other, this was totally unintentional, by the way, but they cannot protect each other. Dominate protects Stolen Power, and Havoc Blow protects Cyclone Strike, and Shock Spear. Dominate protects Regrow, and so on. The passive keyword means that there is an effect that carries over throughout the battle until the card is defeated. Usually passive cards don't resolve unless there is an additional effect text at the bottom of the passive condition. Some enemy cards, like the foot soldiers, deploy other foot soldiers to that location. Some just deal straight damage. Others drain energy. Some allow you to make a choice. Some deal damage based on how many other foot soldiers are in the location, and others target the lead ranger. Some even do multiple instances of damage that can be divided up among the rangers. Some monsters directly target the lead ranger. Some just do one-off things that only that monster can do, like this, regenerating all of their defeated cards, making them no longer defeated. You have to defeat them all over again. In the Shattered Grid expansion, they introduced a mechanic that allows enemy die rolls. This is actually one of our most devastating cards, rolling 4 dice and dealing that much damage to a ranger with the fewest cards in their deck. So you are rolling 4 of these, and if you get 4 of these rolls, she is doing 8 damage to you. Just keep in mind that each combat card in your deck can have up to 3 shields printed on. Now you can increase the shield count, you can decrease damage, but that's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage!
Other cards target the ranger with the fewest or most cards in their deck or their hand, and make you discard cards until they have a certain amount, or they have reached another certain requirement. When an enemy card resolves, you flip it on its side. When you defeat an enemy card, you want to flip it over. You can also defeat resolved cards, so you'll flip them over like this. If you defeat a card before it resolves, and it was the next card in line, then it will still resolve, but the effects will not go off. In the case of foot soldiers and elite foot soldiers, if you take one card down, that means you take out one foot soldier or elite foot soldier. Then you put them on the experience rack if you have not gotten the Megazord yet. Foot soldiers take up 1 slot, and elite foot soldiers take up 2 slots. Monsters have 4 cards that you need to defeat. They're all lined out at the top row of the combat sequence. If you take all 4 of them down in the first battle, you don't have to fight them a second time, but you have to fight them until you take out 4 of their cards to defeat them. Same goes for the Nemesis monster types, and for the bosses, they may line up 4 cards in the first row of the combat sequence, but you actually have to take down 6 cards, forcing a second battle with the boss. Once you defeat the boss, you win the game. The game is over. And so concludes the tutorial series on the average game of Heroes of the Grid. I will be going over Assault Mode and the alternate board effects in a separate video. Be on the lookout for the character overviews and set overviews of each pack. Until next time, this is Shard Collector Films out. Take care, everyone.